Temperatures have cooled down here at the Disney Resort, and therefore the crowds have heated up. It was a wild day today with the park filled corner to corner with guests. Some queues in shapes that I have never seen before. We're gonna go through the entire park, every land, every attraction. This is our State of Disneyland report. This is Fresh Baked. You know, normally when I'm doing these State of Disneyland reports, I'm doing it from right up there at the Disneyland Railroad Station, looking down with admiration at Town Square. But I'm troubled. I'm having a very difficult start to this show and into many parts of what I'm doing today, because no matter where I'm at, I can see what's going on here. It's very disconcerting. Town Square itself, still delightful, still lovely to look at. I just have to do it today from the ground. Welcome to this State of Disneyland report, coming to you on a Monday afternoon. It is presently 12:02, and it's about a delightful 72 degrees out, which is going to be part of our story today, because the last time we did one of these reports, our State of DCA report, it was 100,000 degrees out. It was pretty warm the week before that, but I was surprised at how slow it was going. I don't expect that to be the case today. I'm expecting a heck of a day today. I'm expecting a very volatile, busy, crazy day today. That's what my expectation is. I've got a kind of a head start because I've been doing some recon today. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I'm looking forward to a very busy day out there. Let's go get a vibe check on Main Street. As soon as I arrived at the Toy Story parking lot this morning, which I should have got video, but I didn't, but as soon as I arrived, I knew this was going to be a different day than what we've been experiencing for the past month or so. It took, I don't know, a good 30 minutes to get on the bus this morning, which is unusual for Toy Story. There was a huge crowd. I arrived this morning at 9:45, and there was quite a crowd out there, more than I was expecting for this time of morning. But so yeah, I'm anticipating something special today. Meanwhile, here is, oh God, I can't even. Well, I mean, in fact, there is a horse-drawn streetcar coming our way, but I can't even get down the street right now. I'm just gonna have to wait, which isn't so bad. But how about this, right? 12:04 on a Monday. Monday's still doing impressive work here at Disneyland. Wow. Do you guys, I mean, is that coming through the frame? Because I know sometimes it looks less crowded than it really is through the lens. But this is definitely more intense than I have experienced here at Disneyland for a little while now. This is kind of what I was expecting when the Halloween season hit. A few weeks ago, I figured this is what it would be like, and we're finally here, maybe. Look at that, you could just kind of see it everywhere out there. There are people in every little spot. Often you'll see little dead zones throughout Main Street and around the hub, but not today. So that's our Main Street vibe check. Let's head back up Main Street. Take a look at the reservation calendar, which has been a topic of conversation of late on social, and some interesting developments are happening there. Goodness. With the reservation calendar. Let's go. We'll start with the single-day ticket calendar, which looks exactly like it has for the past few months now, completely wide open, no sold-out dates for September or October. This is, even though it's super crowded, even though we are looking at some high-level attendance here, It's still very easy to walk up and get a ticket just the way Disney wants it. They are they're putting the pressure on the Magic Keys, as is usually the case. Let's look at the Inspire Key right now, which right now, actually, this looks remarkably better. We see you cannot get a reservation for today or tomorrow. You cannot get one for the 20th or for the whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But then it's back open again next week, starting Monday, and then booked out again for Saturday. Oh, I'm sorry, that's Sunday. And then October, you've got a few dates sold out. Some Fridays are pretty key there. 2 Fridays sold out, plus a DCA start only on the 18th, and then something similar on Sundays, these are days that the Enchant Keys can get into the park. So that's why you see just the Sundays booked, but not the Saturdays. But now that doesn't look great, but it's also better than it was, as I mentioned. Just this morning, although I started, you know what? This is what I posted this on Twitter 3 or 4 days ago, and I think it was 3 days ago. And you could see that there was 1, 2, at the time, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 dates sold out. There were only 3 dates where you could get either park. Usually that's a signal. When you see, for example, on the 19th or the 18th there, that only a Disneyland start is available or only a DCA start is available, typically that means they're on the verge of selling out, or they are sold out, and those are people canceling reservations. So they show up, they appear for a minute, and then they're gone after somebody takes them. Normally you're going to see both parks available. That looks bad, and I mentioned that on Twitter. Just this morning, when I was trying to get a date for later on next week, there was 2 days. There was only 2 days available. I want to say it was the 17th and 24th. Every other day was booked out. I wish I had taken a screenshot of that, but I was in a hurry this morning and I couldn't do it. Every day but 2. This morning, not earlier this week or whatever. That was just this morning, and then today. So it looks like Disney has released a few dates for. Let me go back. A few dates for September. We've got now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days where either park is available. This is, people ask, why is Monday so busy, for example, compared to a Saturday or Sunday? Well, it's Disney manipulating the reservation system, holding back dates. They will make it look like it's full, it's booked out, and then one day they'll decide, we're going to release some more reservations and allow people to do it because maybe they're not selling enough single-day tickets or something like that. But what they release, what they're making available, is just the weekdays. So they're not giving us a chance. It's still very difficult to get Saturdays and Sundays. That's a conversation we've had many times in this, part of this segment of this show. But it's something that we haven't had to have that conversation for a while. But here we are in September. And it's not great. It's not great. But I'm glad, though, because it means we got a full park. Let's go take a look at some more of Disney. Let's go down to Adventureland next. Actually, before we do that, let's finish our tour around the hub before we head to Adventureland, just to kind of complete the picture here. When you watch the State of Disneyland report, no stone is unturned. We cover every foot of this park, and that includes the hub before we get into Adventureland. It's going to be a little bit bananas over here. Looks like they're about ready to do the march down Main Street. It's 12:22 p.m. for those wanting to know when this happens. Here they go. They're just starting. Matter of fact, I don't think I can get through there. Look at all these people right here. Wow, what a scene. Cool. I like it. Oh, they got their Halloween costumes on also. There goes Steve, fire truck driver. This used to be one of my favorite things to catch when I would just come to the park casually and wing it. Love this show. Man, okay, I gotta thread my way through here. Because we do have an agenda, we do have a mission today.
You hold Deborah's hand, I will hold your hand. We're going over to the buzz ride. There's a
Jeez Louise, and that adventure, that agenda begins in Adventureland. I cannot walk through here peacefully. Whew. Wow, wow, wow. This takes me back. It's interesting because we would have these days all the time back in the day, but now when we notice it, or now that when it does happen, you're like, oh my gosh, look how busy it is. It's like more observable, and it makes me think back to the old days.
Right here. Okay.
Okay, so Jungle Cruise. Can't check Jungle Cruise because it's down for refurb. It's going to be down for 3 weeks. So they've got some walls up. I wonder if we could see anything from Jolly Holiday. You know what? Let's just do a quick little recon session over here. I just want to take a look at the river. I want to see the river. Jungle River Post Office down there. Oh gosh, they got the boats all stacked up down here, don't they? Fascinating. I don't know why that fascinates me, but I can see 1, 2, 3. Is it just maybe 4 boats? Yeah. Cool. So today is the first day of the Jungle Cruise closure. And it'll be down until, oh gosh, I can't remember the date exactly, but it's about 3 weeks. Today's the 16th, and we're looking at maybe the October, early October, first week of October. But it doesn't seem to be affecting crowds here on the streets of Adventureland, does it? They've got walls up over here too. I wonder why the walls are up. They don't need to do that necessarily, right?
That's when you can all sit on.
Indiana Jones was also closed. It had a brief refurb. It reopened on, I want to say Saturday. Posted at 60 minutes right now. That's pretty strong. That's a strong start. Let's see how accurate that is. We've been doing a lot of recon here at Indiana Jones. Those who follow our newsletter have been getting the first preview of that recon session. And then also on Patreon, we've been posting some videos breaking down some of what we've been noticing, observing here at Indiana Jones. So I'm going to have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen looking at that 60-minute queue back there, or 60-minute wait time. Full to the brim. Wow. Full. Incredible. Yeah, it's the whole thing. It's posted at 60 and they're using all of it, but they're at least not going over to the Jungle Cruise side, so I would say that's probably close to or at 60, but probably not all the way there. I would guess 50 minutes. Whatever it is not a discount today. My goodness. Walking through here, I didn't get a chance to observe it on camera, but I noticed that they had put up some stanchions out here, and I wondered, you know, what instigated that? Why did they build this little extended queue out here? Because you never see these ropes out here like this in this out section, because it gets very crowded here. But now I know why, because on the way out, I was wondering, well, gosh, what do they do when it's super busy? Which Indiana Jones can often be. The queue will come out past the threshold, and if they don't mind it, if it's full back there and they got nowhere to go, they get sent out this way. So when that happens, they send the guests up there into the Jungle Cruise queue, which they cannot do because there are walls up. Therefore, this is where they have to send them. When it gets super busy, that's where they're going to put those guests. That stuff fascinates me, and it's the kind of thing that I have been becoming more and more conscious of, more and more aware of Like I ask, hey, how are you? How are you guys? I ask myself those questions all the time. Like, what's gonna happen? I'm sitting there back there in that queue, and I'm like, what are they gonna do when it gets too full? Boom, they've got Disney is really, really good at this, you guys. I hope you can appreciate this. We talk about this in our State of Knots report that we just did, which I'm not sure if it's gonna have already been published. It's done, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna wait to publish that after this one or put it before on Tuesday. I don't know, but something that Disney doesn't get enough credit for from the general audience. Not, the people the super fans, we all know. But the general audience just thinks that Disney sucks. You know what I mean? Because there's just a lot of anti-Disney talk out there. But I tell you what, they have got this operations things, they've got things dialed. They know exactly what they're doing and how to do it, and they're very, very good at it. I asked that question, and no sooner had I asked it did I have an answer. And they're gonna have their work cut out for them today. My goodness. It's popping out here at Disney. Okay, Pirates of the Caribbean is 35 minutes. And, I mean, they've got, wow. How far is this going? The bridge, obviously. 35 is, by the way, strong. Hey, guys. For Pirates of the Caribbean these days, that's a pretty good weight for Pirates. Hey, how's it going? I want to see if they're going across the street towards Tiana's, which I believe they are. Yep, you can no longer cross here. None shall pass. Keeps going. Probably to this second brick planter here. Man, I'm having a very hard time threading my way through these crowds today. Yeah, that's it. They stopped right here. It is happening. It's happening. People are here and they're ready to party. They're ready to have a day at Disneyland. Now, why that is a good question. It could be, well, there could be a lot of factors there. Pent-up demand because they weren't able to go. They weren't able to go last week. A lot of people opted out because of the heat. We were at DCA. We did our State of DCA report, and it was completely empty. I walked on to just about every attraction that I wanted to go on. I dang near walked on to Radiator Springs Racers, you guys. It was maybe like a 10 or 15 minute wait. So there was definitely where people were just canceling and deciding not to go. There is a large local population here that can do that. It's not like they're coming in from out of town and they don't have a choice and they have to go even if it's hot or raining or whatever. There's a large local population here who can just say, we'll go next week. And that's been done. That's part of the reason why reservations have been so hard to get this week. I had a few people question my thinking on that. They thought, no, it's dead because people are sick of Disney. And I'm like, I don't think so. It's the heat, man. It was absolutely, definitely the heat, because look at what's happening today. It's the busiest day I've seen in a month, at least, maybe two, maybe more, I don't know. And of course, you still have the whole, it's a Monday thing. Mondays are the busiest days of the week. You've got the discounted ticket is still a thing. That's still happening. You've got Magic Keys being pushed away from the weekends, as we were talking about before, that they're forcing Magic Keys to go on weekdays, Monday through Thursday. So all those things add up to this kind of experience here on a Monday afternoon in September. Okay, you know what? I think we should go check out Tiana's Palace next. See if the people are showing up there for lunch. It is prime time for lunch right now, 12:36 in the afternoon right now, if I can just get there.
Tiana's Palace?
Yeah, I can already see, I think there's a queue out the door. Still though, not bad. Yeah, okay, so the queue is just getting, the back of the queue is just getting inside the door. As full as you can get in here at Tiana's. Both sides open, both sides full, but this is still an improvement or better than trying to use mobile order. You'll wait 20, 30 minutes for mobile order. These guys will get their food here in probably 10 minutes or so. Packed house out here as well, as usual. Let's go visit the rest of New Orleans Square. We'll check in on Haunted Mansion. Interesting development, by the way, on that. Actually, before we get into that, let me take this opportunity to ask you guys if you are planning a trip to the Disneyland Resort or to any Disney park, Walt Disney World, Universal for that matter, Aulani, do so by using our affiliate, GetAwayToday. There's a link in the description. They are our travel partner here, and they are the best in the business at planning trips to Disneyland. They not only do they know everything there is to know about going to Disneyland or Walt Disney World, they are the best at it, but they're also the kindest, nicest bunch of people. We are in love with GetAwayToday. So if you are planning a trip to the park, please do use our link in the description below to make those plans. Let them know that we sent you, and enjoy your visit to the Disneyland Resort. I've been observing, I watch as much as I'm able to anyway. I watch how long it takes for them to sell out each day on virtual queue here at Haunted Mansion. And of late, I've been seeing it go until about 10:45 a.m. This morning, I tried to get one at 9:30, and they were sold out already at 9:30 this morning. And I don't know if that's when they sold out, or maybe they sold out before, but it was no earlier than 9:30 a.m. I just checked now. I just got one today. It's 12:42 when I grabbed it, 12:42 for the noon distribution. I got group 246. They're currently serving group 82, which, by the way, I would have hoped they'd be further along than 82 at this point. They are now serving group 82, which means I have 160 groups to go. So at 160 groups to go, if we're still holding at the same 3.5 minute range, that's 500 minutes. You're looking at 8 or 9 hours before I can hit Haunted Mansion today if I were to stick around, which is not going to happen. So I'll be canceling that virtual queue reservation, but it is very, very intense here today. Right now, this week, as we record this, very, very popular attraction, virtual queue for Haunted Mansion today. By the way, there's an update on how they're handling that. Previously, it was the case that they would have cast posted up here to scan your virtual queue, but they're not doing it here anymore. They're actually now posted further up in the same spot, I think, in the same spot where they would be scanning your virtual or your lightning lane. They installed lightning lane scanners up here where the hearse used to be, and you could see some cast up there checking people in. They're not checking them in for lightning lane, they're checking them in for virtual queue. No idea if that's better or worse. I'm assuming they think it's better, at least. It doesn't affect the guest experience at all. It makes no difference to us if they do it out there or up there. I think they're just trying to relieve congestion out here in front of the attraction, which, you know, as the days get busier like they are now, you know, that starts to become more and more of a problem. That wasn't that way when they first opened the Haunted Mansion almost 2 months ago now, but it certainly has become that. Now, so far, we are definitely holding on to this being a very intense afternoon. Everything that we've seen so far has been above normal. Although Indy at 60 it could have been worse, to be honest. Indy definitely could have been worse. But it's the people in the streets that's getting me. Like the queues, Disney's so good at ride ops that they can keep the queues moving. It's all the guests in the streets. That's so, oh my gosh. Okay, I am OMGing right now. I'm a little early for the canoes, but I could see guests in the queue. Oh my gosh. They're catching some overflow. The canoes, the Davy Crockett canoes, are catching some of the wake from everything being so busy. The people are choosing the canoes today. Oh my god, that's the back of the queue. I'm in the queue right now. Ish, I think. No, I'm not. I thought I was. They're just eating churros. Let's go to Hungry Bear, or I should say, let's go to Critter Country, soon to be Bayou Country. We were here doing construction on Friday, and you could hear the audio, the testing up there. You could hear Lewis and Tiana talking about how they just can't seem to find any musicians, but it's okay, you know, we're just getting started. Don't panic. Winnie the Pooh is closed. So we can't, I saw that, I'm like, you know what, let's just go on Winnie the Pooh, why don't we? but it is closed. Hey, how are you? So not much to observe back here today, I guess, other than the beauty and wonder of Critter Country. Something that I have been observing and hoping remains to be the case is I think they're going to keep the music here. I think they're going to keep the Winnie the Pooh music over here on this side, and then you'll hear the Tiana music on that side. I believe they were doing it before. It was the case. Are they playing it now? You can barely hear it because there's the sound of a generator over there. Hi guys. Hi, how are you? Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Yeah, I know, right? I agree. Yeah. Yeah, there's a generator or something over there, but they would play Zippity Doo-Dah over here at the same time they were playing the Winnie the Pooh music, so I think that could work, right? But they're actually near done. Look at this. When I was here on Friday, there's still a little bit of scaffolding up, but it is now all gone. There's no scaffolding anywhere up there. That is a finished product. Guys, we're getting so close. There's a little bit here still, but all this is done. So unfortunately, not a lot to cover back there in Critter Country, so we'll keep moving. Take our usual vibe check down here along the river. Man, I'm still having a hard time adjusting. I have been shoulder checked or near shoulder checked maybe a half dozen times.
What number, my friends? What number? 3. Yeah, I know. We can count. Numbers are hard. It's okay. That's why we're here. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. And
Our next acoustic. I've been talking about this. The next time I come here, I just do a random walk through the park. Our next acoustic, you can find that on Tours Departing Daily. That is our sister channel where I just go through the park and have a good time and mess around. No recon or strategy or commentary or anything like that. Just you, me, the camera, and Disneyland. Next time we're doing the canoes. Interesting. We're not seeing the intensity affecting the crowd, that is, the crowd intensity, attendance here affecting Rise too much so far. On a busy day, you'll find guests out here in this section. But it's looking like just section 3 right now, which is manageable in most cases. Super manageable if there's not a lot of lightning lane happening right now, which we'll go check. Posted at 65. It's not bad. And yeah, there's no lightning lane, so I would bet that 65 is going to wind up being something closer to 40 or 45. 20 minutes in the interior queue, 10 in the cave, and then probably, no, I have that wrong. It's 15 and 10, 25, yeah, and then maybe maybe 20 minutes out there in that exterior queues. If that keeps moving, because you can get through each of those sections in 3 or 4 minutes each, as long as there's no lightning lane. Comes Vi Marati, she's back in town. Doing a little, hi. Probably doing a little recon herself, making sure that the resistance side of things over here at Galaxy's Edge are safe and clear of the First Order and those mean old stormtroopers. The sound effects of Galaxy's Edge are great. Wow. Kind of surprised at how quiet it is, considering the rest of the park. But as I often say, what you find out there in the rest of Disneyland doesn't necessarily, or often does not, translate at Galaxy's Edge, into Galaxy's Edge. It's its own little universe back here. Fantasyland is a lot like that too. Go check that tip board. All right, are you guys ready to see some numbers? I am, like Alice in Wonderland at 40. I almost always see this at like 30 or 35 when we come through here. So seeing it at 40 is consistent. Astro Orbiter 25, that's long-ish. Autopia 25 is not bad. Return time in half an hour. I've seen worse. Big Thunder standard at 45. That's typical with a 2-hour return time. But I mean, I like seeing Big Thunder at 45 is a discount today. Look at that, Buzz Lightyear at 35. 35. When I was here earlier, I saw it at 45 this morning. That was at like, I don't know, 10, 11 a.m. maybe. Return time in an hour. Gadget Coaster is 45 minutes. Oh boy, I want to see that queue. I want to see a 45-minute queue. That's going to be around the corner coming towards the threshold, I bet. Dumbo at 40. Ooh, are we going to see it in the back half today? You bet we will. Meanwhile, Nemo is just 35. Interesting. Haunted Mansion Holiday. We got ourselves Group 2. Oh, that's right. Let me just go ahead and do that now. I forgot before, so we'll just... Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Let's get back to work. Okay. Indiana Jones. 40. What? What? 45 minutes. Return time in 7 hours, by the way. So Lightning Lane is happening today. But 45 minutes, that seems not accurate. The Carousel is 25, Mad Tea Party's 20, Matterhorn at 50. We'll talk about the recon I did there earlier today. It's return time in 3 hours. That's not bad for Matterhorn, pretty standard. Runaway Railway is closed. Smuggler's Run is 50. Return time in just 1 hour. I mean, these are all busy day numbers, but so far I haven't really seen anything that's got me shaking my head or screaming at clouds, so... Except for Mr. Toads at 35. There's no way. There's no way that Toads is 35. Once that queue leaves that little pen and it gets out the threshold, people just stay away. They don't get in the queue. So I can't imagine that being 35 minutes. I can see Peter Pan being 45 though. Pinocchio 25 standard. Pirates is up. Oh my gosh, it's up to 50. Goodness. Return time in 2 hours. Roger Rabbit, I mean, 50 is pretty normal. 50 is pretty normal. Return time in 3 hours. Snow White, 35. Guys, did everybody go to Fantasyland? Is that what's happening? Did everybody go to... Are they getting all the spillover? What the heck? Okay, guys, I'm so confused now. there's a ship coming in, bringing some supplies at Docking Bay 7. Space Mountain at 45 minutes? I'm sorry, what? How is that even possible? I'll bet you my check it's not 45 minutes by the time we get there. Return time in just 3 hours. That's also, I find hard to believe. Oops, not bad. Star Tours at 35. Rise is at 65. There's not return time of now. Storybook Band 25, and there you go. Take care. So it seems like that's a fairly standard tip board review there, at least for the kind of day that we're experiencing. As I mentioned, nothing really stood out. No exceptionally long queues, except for maybe that 35 minutes for Toads. Go, guys. Smuggler's Run, 50 minutes. I don't know, man. I guess. Actually, I do think I want to go take a look. I want to find out where the back of the queue is at least. Oh dear. Okay. That's about what we found out when we did the video we did of the 3 worst queues we could find in the park challenge.
Hey, Malta, pick up the call. Yeah, this is Malta. Go ahead. You think I could run this place? What? Yeah, I'm thinking if I work real hard at it.
Except when I was here then,
maybe get a promotion.
it was, well, it's just maybe just a little bit longer. So 50 minutes, if it's all things being equal.
Chief officer and commander.
It probably is. That's probably 50 minutes, yeah. That, by the way, was a really fun video we did. I tried to find the 3 longest queues in the park that I could, whatever, at that moment. And then I went in there as like a challenge. And to see, if it was as terrible as you think it would be, or if maybe it wasn't so bad. But spoiler alert, Smuggler's Run. that was excruciating. That was kind of excruciating getting through Smuggler's Run. Meanwhile, that's Chris Provost behind me. Provost Park Pest. We were just having a conversation about the reservation system, about the calendar, and he was telling me that the other day he was trying to get a reservation for Sunday. First day in a very long time that he was not able to get a reservation that he was trying to get. And I had commiserated with him because I said the same thing happened to me on Saturday. I was trying to get a reservation for Saturday and I could not get one. So I wound up going to Knott's Berry Farm instead. Disney sent me to Knott's Berry Farm, read that. And I did a state announce report, which may or may not have been out by now. I'm not sure. It's done, it's finished, but I'm not sure when I'm publishing that. But it brings up that conversation again about, it's been a while. It's been a little while since that's become an issue, but it's gotten, I don't know what they're doing. And I feel like at some point they would, that there's no reason to limit the crowds. They could let everybody in and more. There's plenty of room for people in here. There's plenty of room. There's more than enough room in the parks for more magic key holders, and yet they continue to do this. And I feel bad for bringing it up, but I feel like if I don't, then I'm doing a disservice to the guests who visit this park, the guests who are having to. Some folks don't understand. They don't get why that's so nefarious. Disney is the only theme park anywhere that I'm aware of that uses the reservation system still. It was a thing back in the day, COVID and all that. But that was a long time ago. That was when they were trying to keep, they were required to keep reservations to a bare minimum. It's not a problem anymore. You can let as many people in here as you want. And yet they continue to use this reservation system for reasons that have nothing to do with capacity, nothing to do with, trying to control the amount of guests in the park, or to control inventory, or to control, asset management, that kind of thing. It has nothing to do with that. They're just trying to.
Fresh baked.
I am, yes, thank you. Yeah, thanks guys. Have a good one. They're trying to control you. I don't like that. Whether or not it's, a big deal or not, whether or not it's a huge problem, whether or not it affects your experience. Some folks say, I like the reservation, or it doesn't bother me, I just keep trying and I get the reservations I want. That irrespective of that, I don't like the idea of them trying to control us, trying to, I don't like being deceived, I don't like being tricked, I don't like that of it. And that's what's happening, is that because that happened this morning. The example I gave before, there were 2 dates open in September. 2 this morning, and now there's 12, or whatever the number is. And that is simply because Disney flicked the switch. They said, okay, now we're gonna let people in. It has nothing to do, it's not like they just suddenly came up with, 1,000 more reservation slots. Out of nowhere, they got a bunch of cancellations. That didn't happen. They were simply trying to sell more single-day tickets. And that, once they get to the point where they feel like they're not going to sell any more of those single-day tickets, then they open those slots back up to Magic Key holders. The bucket, that's all just a big myth. So I've reached Fantasyland, so I'm going to get off my soapbox and get back to work. And it is quite busy in here at the moment. Okay, here we go. 2 trains at Casey Jr. Awesome, love to see it. I don't even recall if we checked the wait time on Casey, but I'm not afraid of any wait time at Casey Jr. if they're running 2 trains. And I am not afraid of that. That right there that's probably not even 10 minutes, probably 5. Let's go Fantasyland. This is where we saw a bunch. This is where we found the only out of line wait times. Pinocchio is around Rapunzel's tower there. Hi. That is longer than usual, but still not terrible. That's still just 20-25 minutes though. We saw Snow White at 35 minutes. And a 35-minute queue would be at least this long. It's actually, this sign now says 25 minutes. That's probably about right. That's actually pushing it a little, I think, 25. 35 would start to get out here into the walkways. They had Peter Pan at 45. It's using all of this. They do have 1 lane open here. It looks like they are they growing it or are they shrinking it? I think he just shrunk it. Yes, he did. They had, there was a rope here and he just wound that up. So they've shortened it. It now says 40 on the board there. You've also got a couple of empty chains here. So busy, 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 but not the busiest I've ever seen. This is what I saw this on, oh heck, I can't remember what day it was, but all of this was full out here. Everything was full, all that. I think it was it this morning? And then down the line down there, every square inch of it was full. That's when, it's kind of self-regulating in that way. Something that I have mentioned before, a lot of Fantasyland attractions are self-regulating. And by that I mean, there's a point at which visually a guest will look at a queue and he'll say, I don't want to get in that. It's too much. There's a benchmark, there's a limit. And in Fantasyland, usually that's when it starts to get out of its normal zone. Like if it gets out into, even further out into the walkway there, where that 1 rope is, they had to bring that out even more. It's just, they're just not going to get in the queue. Same thing for Toads right here. The visual threshold for guests, the self-regulating threshold is right here, typically. If they got guests out here, That's it. People see that, they're not going to get in the queue. Very rarely do you see, sometimes you'll see it get out here around towards this ODV cart, but that's on the most rarest occasions, and that won't last very long because guests will see that and just stay away. So this, Toads has a limit, and this is close to it. But I would say right about here where the trellis there is, that's usually that's enough for them. By the way, it's posted here at 20. I wanted to see what a 35-minute queue looked like. We're not going to get to. It's already come down. But I would imagine that there was probably out here. It looks like they had some space. I'm not sure, man. There's no real places to put queue here. I don't know. They would run it right there and then around the corner right there, and that's about it. What's the longest queue you've ever seen for Toads? Does anybody have any sort of historical, anecdotal stories to share with us? Because I don't think I've ever seen one any longer than that, and that is the very definition of self-regulating, and that you just look at the queue and you're like, I'm not getting in there. Dumbo is still at 40. The board is really faded so we can't see. Let's go around the corner. The thing about Dumbo is you can't put eyes on the whole queue. In most cases, it's impossible to tell without doing what I'm doing now just how long the queue actually is, so it doesn't self-regulate like some of the other queues do. And perhaps that's why the queue does get up into the 40s, because they're not aware, guests are not aware of how bad it is when they get into the queue. And that's because the only way to do that is to come around the corner towards Casey Jr. and see if they're back here, which they are. So this is 100% occupancy right now in the Dumbo queue. It's as big as it's going to get. It's very rare that it gets, it doesn't get into that part of the queue. They save that for Casey Jr. when that queue gets long. So this is full. This is as full as it's going to get. If they get any fuller, you'll see the queue start to back up in this lane. This is the last remaining slice. They try to keep this open if they can. And then if it comes out here, this is your inflection point for I'll pass. If you see guests coming out of here, nobody's getting in that queue. It's a very, very, very rare occasion when that happens. Look at this crowd here, though. Wow. Look at that. It's not even a parade or anything happening. This is just straight up business. My goodness. Wow, wow, wow. How's it going? Hi.
Mad Tea Party.
I can't even walk through here. Heavens to Murgatroyd. This is the Mad Tea Party queue. That's as long as I've seen a queue at Mad Tea. Boy, people are showing up to Fantasyland today. They're getting a lot of spillover from the rest of the park. The park is, in general, the whole park is kind of self-regulating at this point. If that's, yeah, there's the back of the queue right there. Wow. My gosh. Oh wait, we gotta go check Alice. Let's Dare. We saw that at what, 45? 40, 45? It's not around the corner. It's not around to the other side of the mushroom. That's a super long line typically. So this is manageable. This looks bad. I say this almost every week, I think. It looks bad, but it's not as bad as it looks. And it actually does go pretty quick. You keep moving here. It is a little narrow though. You make friends in the Alice in Wonderland queue. Part of the reason why, if they ever tried to make Fantasyland again, they couldn't make it like they did today. There's just no chance you could build either the actual dark ride sized buildings today. You couldn't build Toads the way it is today. It would be 4 times the size, and you couldn't build the queues the way it is today. You just couldn't, because they're too tiny. Those queues are so tiny. As for Storybook Land, I better get this moving quickly because it sounds like the cavalcade is just about to fire. But Storybook Land, this is as dirty as I've seen a Storybook Land queue in a very long time. This is kind of oh my God. No, okay, I thought it was just here, but it's all the way back. guys, seriously, what's going on at Storybook Land? Are they? Oh my God! I don't know that I've ever seen a queue out here, ever. It's all the way. That's incredible. It's all the way back here, halfway to Toontown. Whew, man, intensities out here at the Disneyland Resort today. What a remarkably different experience than what we had at DCA just last week, where we walked on to everything and where it was wide open everywhere we went. What's up, guys? I hit 4 attractions in a state of report, which is just unheard of. Normally I don't do any, and now we got this today. Let's go to Toontown and see what devastation awaits us at Roger Rabbit and Runaway Railway, where Roger didn't actually look too bad on the tip board when we checked it before.
Okay, we got 2/3 of the ride.
There we go. I was feeling anxiety, but not anymore. Thank you very much, Toontown. I love you. There's the back of the queue. Oh, is that the back of the queue? Am I looking at a queue right now for Runaway Railway? Am I? That is very queue-like, but it's not. No, okay. Whew. Oh, it's not even open. That's why, I think that's why it looked like a queue, because people are loitering, I think, to wait for it to open. But the doors are shut at Runaway Railway. The way is shut. Maybe if we stick around long enough, we'll catch the doors open and pop in there real quick. Let's check the rest of Toontown. Okay. Man, no sleeping at Toontown. Oh my gosh, look at the back of the queue for the mini meet, all the way down to the gate. Usually it's right about there. You know what? Here, that says, by the way, 60 minutes. 60 for mini. Meanwhile, Mickey's has 45. I'm gonna go in here real quick. I want to see where the back of the queue is.
No good, dirty one measles are on the loose on the streets of Toontown. They're armed with ink and hands. Citizens of Toontown everywhere. Now, back to our program.
Liz and I came in here a couple months ago to meet Mickey with Sophia, and we found the back of the queue right around this corner. It was into the studio. There it is. Yeah. It's the back of the queue right there. That's not great. That is not great. That is not ideal. That's probably going to be all of that. Well, yeah, it might be 45 minutes just to get to the screening room. I'm curious. It depends. I don't know if I gotta ask somebody. I don't know why I've never have asked this before. But if they have 2 Mickeys, that helps, relieve that pressure quite a bit. But man, that could be a while in there. Whew. Gadgets was posted at 45. I'm gonna peek right here. I can't show you because there's a crowd there, but that did say 45 minutes. However, it is not 45. Back of the queue is between Chip and the Frog there. Yeah, and there's some of those rocks over there. probably more like 30 minutes. 45 would be around into this section down here. Still busy though. Okay, now that took about 5 minutes. I'm trying to stall a little bit. I want to see if Runaway Railway opens up. I want to see what it's like to hop in there right at the right time. But probably won't get that lucky. We still got Roger Rabbit to check. And that it's busy enough out here at Cafe Daisy that they have to put the tape down to create a queue, a standby queue for the Cafe Daisy.
Anyway,
Use the mobile app, you guys. Mobile order. I'm gonna check real quick. Let's see. The food, Cafe Daisy, 10 minutes. Right now it's 10 minutes to place a mobile. I would just do that. I would just do that and go do something. Maybe find a table and sit and wait. Busy day here in Toontown. Wow. Hot dog. Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin is currently posted at 60 minutes, so it did go up from that 45. That 45 was an actual call to action. Let's see. Oh yeah, we found it already. Didn't even get to the bouncer door. Not even close. So once more, not ideal. But here's the thing, you guys, while we're having, in this moment, here's the thing about days like today, is that it becomes less about finding discounts because there just aren't any. It becomes less about, knowing which queue to get into and which isn't, which to not get into. I mean, there are exceptions. There are queues to stay away from, for sure. But it becomes more about managing your expectations. You're just not going to find a short queue today. You're just not. That's probably why people are drifting towards Fantasyland, because they know at least they don't have to compete with Lightning Lane and Fantasyland. So you can, you are going to find shorter queues in Fantasyland, and that's why you get some of that spillover. But at this point, it just becomes about setting the right mindset and saying, you know what, you gotta let go and be in the moment a little bit and just become okay. If you want to ride Roger Rabbit, 60 minutes it is. And while I was doing all that, I was also waiting. I waited about 10 minutes to see if anything happened here, but Runaway Railway is still closed. Let's go to Small World. Not much to say though, because Small World is closed, walls are up, can't see anything that's going on, but there actually we can, a little bit, from the side, which suggests that this is more than just track replacement and getting ready for Christmas. They're doing some work in front of the Glockenspiel as well, which could explain why the delay or its downtime is going to be more than just the usual couple of weeks to install the overlay. It's going to be down from now until probably November 15th is my guess, when they're getting ready for when the Halloween or the holiday season begins. I'm getting tired. And part of the reason for that is because I have been here for more than just this State of Disneyland report. I got here earlier this morning, got here about 9 a.m., I think, 9:30, to do some recon at the Matterhorn. And it was a very informative session. We learned quite a lot. There's the Matterhorn right there. It's posted at 60 minutes right now, but that queue looks very serious. Are people camping out here? Oh my God. They're just, okay, I don't know what all this is, but yeah, it was a very informative session. I got to learn a lot about, how they grow the queue. The first reporting that I'm going to do from that recon session is going to be on our newsletter, which there's a link in the description. You should subscribe and follow us there on that newsletter. We do a lot of tips and helpful info on the park. Part of that is going to be analyzing recon sessions here in the park. And then I'm going to follow that up also with a video that we do on Patreon, where I get more in depth about what I saw. And then all of that will sort of build up into a larger video that I'll put out on YouTube eventually. We did one of those already for Indiana Jones. Hope you guys caught that. But Lots more content out there coming to you from Fresh Baked. Newsletter, Patreon, and we do some of that on Twitter as well. This queue is not what I saw this morning when I was doing my recon though. It's posted at 60, and they have grown it quite a bit since I was here a couple hours ago. No, that was about, what, 10 a.m.? 10, 11 a.m., so that was 3 hours ago. And they've got it all the way down here. I'm starting to define sections. I'm calling this one Extended 1, and then there's going to be Extended 2, Extended 3, and Extended 4. I know that all makes very much sense. But this is one of those queues, man. You're looking at 60 for sure here. If you don't get a lot of influence from Lightning Lane, you might be able to get it in 45. Speaking of which, Lightning Lane, not bad at all right now, considering how busy it is. So there's a chance that this queue that is now growing outside the threshold has a chance to get it done under 60 minutes. So I think I'm going to reverse course today. Normally I go back there towards Nemo. Oops, sorry. But I was feeling nostalgic for the days when they didn't have Lightning Lane, and for the days when the queues for the two sides were on opposite sides of the mountain. The Tomorrowland side, that's why they call it Tomorrowland side, because it was a wraparound on the side of the lagoon, the mountain. And then the Fantasyland side, the queue would wrap this way and go around the mountain here. I keep trying to see if I can find old footage, because it was like this in my lifetime in terms of Fresh Baked. There was a time in the Fresh Baked life cycle where the queue did run this way on the Fantasyland side. Look at the, oh my gosh, golly. Remember when I was talking about how Alice wasn't over here? And now look at it. Oh my gosh, golly. Oh my, I have never in my life, this is now twice, never in my life have I seen the Alice queue get all the way to the restrooms. Never, never ever. I'm sure it has. I'm sure somebody will probably say they've seen it, but I haven't. And I'm here a lot. But anyway, it was, the queue would keep going back this way, and they would just run it around the backside of the mountain. No, there was no switchbacks or anything like that. They didn't have any fancy queues back then. They just put the people where they could fit them. And there were times you knew it was a busy day when the two queues met. You would keep going around the backside of the mountain, and sure enough, I've been in this queue. I've stood right here where I'm standing now, waiting to go on the Fantasyland side of the Matterhorn, right here. I've been in this queue out here. I've been in this queue out here actually for the Tomorrowland side. I've seen, hey, there he is again. How's it going, guys? All right. Hey guys, thank you guys. Hey guys, the Tomorrowland queue would run all the way down. It would, when it was just Tomorrowland, it would go all the way down to the other side of the mountain over there, switchbacks and all. They'd have ropes and stanchions out here. Oh my gosh, I swear, one of these days I'm gonna have to go back and just scrub some of that old footage and see if I can't find it, because talk about flashbacks. Oh my gosh, those were the days. In fact, it was that kind of queue, the one that I'm describing right now, which was the genesis for the term that we use often, "It goes quick though." And "it goes quick though" was how you described a queue that, while it looked really long, it wasn't so bad, because you were constantly moving. You know, it wasn't so bad. For one thing, because they were you know, they had two loading stations for that Tomorrowland queue. They were loading both sides from that one queue. Kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates of the Caribbean it still is a goes quick though, Small World. But now when they added Lightning Lane to Matterhorn, no longer a goes quick though. Not even. Not a goes quick though. Finding Nemo. As in, never once did anybody say, yeah, the Finding Nemo queue is long, but it goes quick though. It's gonna take you this way for a second because it's such great news. The monorail is back. Thank you. After about a month closure, we got to ride in the nose. Did you guys know you could ride the nose of the monorail? I did, but I'm not sure if you knew. You can also ride the tail, although that still has not been the case. They still have not been able to get the tail going. Hi guys, how are you?
Have a good night.
You too, thank you. First time since pre-COVID could guests ride the nose of the monorail. I got some footage here, hopefully for you. It's been years. You used to be able to ride the tail. The tail is great in and of itself because it's a little bit more of a relaxed environment, but you get a nice 360 view. Still waiting for them to open that back up. I'm not sure what the reason is. I'm just shocked that they opened up the nose. I thought I had given up that could ever be a thing. I thought it was over for the nose. Well, I was here just to check and see if they were loading both or two sides here, but it looks like they are loading just the one side, although I do see cast here, but no guests in the queue. Try to, if you can, if you're interested in inviting Nemo, check and see if they're loading on both sides, or you can just ask a cast member and make your decision accordingly. And in today's example, the queue that I just saw and the fact that they're not loading both sides, the according decision is pass. That is a no-go. This is another one of those attractions that picks up a lot of overflow when guests are when it's just too long for Indy, Matterhorn, Space Mountain, Big Thunder. You're not having any luck there. People tend to migrate over to Autopia, and it's posted at 45 minutes right now. Hopefully you guys can see that, but it says 45 minutes. That's at first blush, a no for me. They're all the way to the top of the risers, you guys. They're using the whole thing. The very tippy top of the risers, that's not a good look. That's a no-go for me. They're also in the rotunda. My goodness, this is absolutely the fullest hey guys, how are you? This might be the fullest that I've seen Autopia in a very long time. It's not quite never ever, but dang, they're using the whole rotunda and all of the risers back there. Wow, and there is some lightning lane happening, and they're also running all 4 lanes, so they're operating at peak capacity right now. Good heavens, it's like the old days, man. It feels like the old days here today. So awesome. Came back here to look in on this sign. This was behind Scrim and Scaffold. I just wanted to see if there's any difference, and you can actually see it. This is something I would normally do in a construction report, but what the heck. You can see how the column especially is bright and shiny and vibrant. Much more saturated, the color's fresh, whereas this one's a little more faded. I'm surprised they didn't do both. But yeah, definitely a little bit more duller, a little more faded on that tower. Still waiting for them to finish the Disneyland Railroad. We're still expecting late October. Look at this though. You know you're at Disneyland when just seeing the sight of the Autopia vehicles should be enough to make people nostalgic for the old days. Look how happy everybody is when they take off too. You know, it's funny that it's those 2 points that I just made, the nostalgia and the happiness, and yet people still want to get rid of this and replace it with something else because it's a waste of space, which is just like one of the worst reasons that I can think of, because did we do this? I think we did this last month, man. People think the rivers of America at Walt Disney World is a waste of space. What a term to use for something so majestic and wonderful. What a term to use for something that is the very definition of the Disneyland experience. It's a shame. It's a shame. All in the name of capacity. Oh, I just realized, great news. We get to finally talk about Space Mountain again. We haven't been able to cover this for a little while because it's been going through a refurb, a much needed one, because they fixed the blue lights, which is outstanding. I'm so excited for that. It's different than it was before, but probably still just as good. And now I'm just realizing that we can't talk about Space Mountain because it's closed. Looks like it's down. It looks like it may have just gone down because people are coming out of the entrance here in droves, which suggests that that did just happen. They've evac'd the queue. It is often the case when Space Mountain goes down that they let people stay in the queue, but this looks like an evac, so this is going to be a while. Just letting that music play for a minute. Hope you don't mind. This is how I like to see Tomorrowland right here. How you know you're at Disneyland? For me, it's the experience. The guests are part of the experience. Like, are you really going to Disneyland if you're not having that communal experience with 50,000 other people when the park is empty and you're jumping on every single ride? Is that really a full Disneyland experience? I don't think it is. I really don't. As for Astro Blasters, 25 minutes is the posted wait time, but look at this queue is loose. It's shaken free of its normal constraints. There are no ropes where these guests are right now. People are just forming their own queue out here. That is not good. They need to get I'll bet that the cast closed the Pixie Hollow section back there. I'll bet. Because it does say 25 minutes and yet the queue's out there. So it looks worse than it really is. Let's see. And it looks like they may have just extended it. Yeah, I think they just did, because now the guests are, yeah, here she goes, she's doing it now. So what's more, as soon as I observe a thing, they start doing it. So yeah, they've grown it out here, they've added that, and then they also added the Pixie Hollow stuff back there. So guests are gonna fill in all that space, and by the time we come back, that excess queue we just saw will have filtered into the proper queue. But that's how that happens. Sometimes you'll see these deceivingly long looking queues. That's not as bad as it looks, simply because they chained off a bunch of those sections. I'm just gonna see how long this takes. By the way, there is still quite a few guests in the Lightning Lane too, so that 25 is going to bump up probably to 30 or 35 probably, maybe even by the time we're done looking at this. But it's quickly shrinking. They're filling in. There's a lot more space to fill in there. By the time they fill in all that space there, well, they keep getting in the queue, but the back of the queue should be well into this chains, into that right about there. There's the back of the queue is starting to grow. There's the back now. They're adding to it. But people are still getting in the queue. That's always so funny. They see a short wait time. I saw this at Matterhorn this morning. They see a short wait time, so they keep flooding in, even though it looks, like they keep getting into the back of the queue, and they're still doing it. That's so fun. And that's the reason why they still are, is because it does still say 25 minutes there. For as long as that board says 25 minutes, people will keep getting in this queue, because that's basically the only discount you're getting anywhere in the park right now. That's like the shortest wait I've seen for any kind of Lightning Lane type attraction, which this is. So where I thought the back of the queue might be here, it's actually wound up right here, and they're growing it some more. So there's no place else to put those guests. They can't grow it anymore back there, so this is it. It's going to start. What they need to do to keep these guests out of this walkway right now is bump that up. They need to bump that 25. That's the adjustment they got to make right now, because that's not a 25-minute queue, and it's going to keep drawing guests for as long as that board stays that way. This is the opposite effect. Something I've talked about at length in various strategy videos is it is often the opposite. What you see is, you know, you see a short wait time like 25, you better be in the queue already or be close to it, because what's going to happen is that's going to draw a crowd, and in a matter of minutes, we just saw, you know, 50 people get in that queue right now. In a matter of minutes, it's not going to be a 25-minute queue, and for as long as it stays at 25 minutes, it's going to keep getting worse. It's going to get worse and worse, because most people will just believe whatever Disney puts on that board. Meanwhile, if they put 75 minutes up there, nobody's going to show up. And you look at that queue and we're like, well, that's not 75. Look and see if it really is 75. Do the opposite. By the way, I should point out, when it is something like 75 for a ride that shouldn't be, that's a call to action to stay away. It makes people want to stay away, not get in the queue, so they don't keep adding to the back of it, and the queue actually shrinks because people will believe that it's 75 minutes when it actually isn't. Look at the size of this queue now. This is where we left it when we started. We're like, oh my gosh, this is too long. It shouldn't be like this. They need to go stretch it out. And I was sure that they needed to, except that they did, and it's still like that because they haven't changed it from 25 minutes yet. Wow, Star Tours is at 35 minutes across the way. Empty-ish looking queue out here, but I think it's because they're back there in the back room. How full that is back there, it's hard to say. It's always so dark. Oh wow, they've grown it out here too. That's different. Normally, they'll send it straight from the chains into the room there, and then back out. But this time, they've actually got ropes out. This is unusual. This is extra, which is something they should have at Buzz Lightyear right now, but they can't. They have no place to put the guests. Still says 25, and the queue is getting longer. The back of the queue is getting longer because people keep getting in because they think it's 25 minutes. I mean, I wish I could just stay here and watch this and see how long it takes them to figure this out, because they have maximized all their queue out here. This is it. You can't get any more done out here. They need to fix that board. This is a 45-minute queue now. You know what? Don't get in Buzz Lightyear. Get on Astro Orbiter instead. By the way, I waited around here for 5 or 6 minutes, hoping that they would change the time. It still says 25 minutes in the back of the queue. Now it's down here, all the way to the Astro Orbiter out here. But anyway, get on that instead. Enjoy Astro Orbiter. Just check the tip board. Took him a few minutes. I'm gonna try to get over to Frontierland. Took a few minutes, but Buzz Lightyear is now showing at 55 minutes. You want to watch that crowd disappear real quick? Buzz Lightyear is now at 55 minutes. Let's go to Frontierland. Hey guys. Wow. It's happening here. We saw Big Thunder at 45 minutes. I would be shocked if it was still at that number. It's certainly full back there. That's not a good sign. They're using all lanes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. I've seen 5 lanes, I think.
I'm so scared of it. I got my hurting.
Oh my gosh. No way. Oh, I thought that said 85 for a second. It says 65. But that's actually beyond the normal threshold for Big Thunder. Usually Big Thunder, the self-regulating point on is about 60 minutes. Maybe into the 50s. You rarely see it get up and over 60, like in 65 like that. Hardly ever. Man, what a day, man. I had to go over here and look, try to find a little bit of peace over here on Big Thunder Trail, man. What an exceptional day today. Good day for Disneyland. Glad to see it's back at full strength after that stretch there with the heats were just killing the parks. But they're certainly back today. Guests are ready to go to Disneyland. Happy to be here. And it makes me happy to see the park busy like this, full of guests, and everybody having the best time ever, even if it's a little bit more crowded than you would hope. Great day today. And that is our State of Disneyland report for this week, for this Monday, September 16th. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. You can also join our newsletter. There's a link in the description. And then follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked, on Twitter at freshbakedisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at freshbakedisney. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh baked.